Morning. My name is Azmat Ali Khan. I am studying in the BBA Part 1 2K20 batch from Sindh University campus. My roll number is 18. This presentation for online examination of the first semester, it will be conducted by Professor Farhan Ali Surayu. Farhan Ali Surayu, the teacher of our subject is Introduction to Computer. I am taking 3 topics. Number 1 is the components of computer, and number 2 is interacting computer, and the number last and the third is the data hardware. So I am defining everything in the form of slide and the presentation. Without wasting up time, let's start.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The components of computer, various topics, and interacting with the computers, data hardware. The components of computer. First, computer. The word computer is derived from a Greek word means compute, to calculate. So computer is a machine which is used for a calculate. Computer is also called a data processor machine. Data processor machines take input and working on it. Computer is an electronic device which can take a data and process in according to the instructions and given a required output. There are several components of a computer. They are needed to make a computer system work. Their components are people produce, hardware, software, data and communication. Hardware. It is the physical parts of computer system. That part there that you can touch and see. A motherboard and CPU and keyboard and the monitor are all items of hardware. Generally, hardware is a term that used to describe physical articles of a technology. Software, it is a collection of instructions that can be run on a computer. These instructions tells the computer what to do. It is not only physical things, but it can of course to be stored on a physical medium such as a CD-ROM. It is just a print of the code. Generally, as a software, as known in program or a code. Software is a program or a code. Software or instruct executed by a computer is opposite to the physical device on which they run the hardware. Difference between hardware and software. Physical component that make a computer system useless without software to run on it. Software instructions that tell about computer hardware what to do. Useless unless there is a hardware to run on it. Main components. Central process unit. It is a brain of computer. It is a device carries out software instructions. It usually print into the large mode on the main circuit board and the motherboard of a computer. They get very hard when they are operating to usually have a large fan attached to their top to keep them cool. It is a device and carry out a software instructions is a use CPU. It's known as the brain of computer. Main memory and data or instructions that are to be processed by a CPU must be placed into the main memory somewhere known as a primary storage. Random access memory RAM. It is a part of computer that temporarily stored and instructions that a computer is running and the data it is processing. The volatile if the computer power is turned off, the contents of RAM disappearing in the lost. When a computer is in use, its RAM will contain operation systems, application systems, and data is being processed. RAM. Writing data, RAM chip is a slow process data. ROM, read-only memory, it is used in most computers to hold small special piece of the software. Boost up a program non-volatile, the data is contact never lost every if the power is switch off. This boost is of software is known as the BIOS input-output systems. There is a difference between RAM and ROM. RAM is a faster processor and the ROM is a slower processor. What is a secondary backing storage? It is a name for all the devices apart from ROM and RAM that can store data in a computer system. However, a storage device is a device used for storing some things. A data storing device, a device for reading, storing information data, the hardware disk, ROM, floppy, USB, etc. What is operating system? Useless is work, useful. Operating system that you may have heard of: Windows XP, Windows VST, Linux. Data and the things which have a saving in a computer and we found or we work on it. It is called data. How operate the computer is called user. It is also main part of computer. User influences the system of people's use interact with the computer to give a command to see that result of those command etc. It's known as a user input. Keyboard. Keyboard was the first input device to be used with computer and is still the major and mostly widely used among all the input devices. It is a primary input device for entering text and numbers. It is an arrangement of keys on a board in an organized way. This is why it is called keyboard. It's a standard key including about 100 keys and each key sends a different sign of CPU. Keyboards including the following types of keys: alphabetical, numeric keys, functional keys, momentum arrows keys, and different keys, punctuation marks keys, and other purpose keys. Generally, a keyboard is an input device that contain keys used press to enter data and instruct to the computer. Nathan Sullivan was the inventor of the keyboard for a computing device. He patented the typewriter that we commonly use today, 1868. Punctuation keys and alphabetical keys graphs. The key is a press on the keyboard. How the computer accepts input from a keyboard. The keyboard controller sends a scan code for a key to keyboard buffer and the key buffer to the computer. The keyboard is controller sends and interpret request to the system software. System software is a process, a scan code and CPU. Mouse. A mouse is an input device, the punctuation by detecting two-dimensional motions related to the supporting surface. Physically, mouse consists of an object held under the user hand with one or more buttons. Generally, the mouse is a transistor in the input device. Click on the button and the mouse sends information to the computer. It is hand-operated electrical device controlled data conditions of the surface of the computer screen and the user moving it is around on a surface. It can be used only a graphics use interpret-based computer system. Mouse performance pointing operating through the following 4 acts: clicking, double clicking, dragging, right clicking. It looks like a real mouse with a scroll. It is tail and the part of we hold is the body. The inventor of mouse. The computer mouse was invented by Douglas Invert during the 16th and patented on November 1797. This mouse is the first used with the intro.To computer system in 1973. First mouse inventor. Types of mouse. The mouse can classify several ways according to the working machines. Mouse can be 3 types: mechanical, and optical. The mouse can be 3 types according to how a computer mouse hooks up on the contain a computer, serial, PC2 mouse, coordinate mouse. Basic part of mouse. Almost all the mice today in the transfers use 5 components: a ball, double ball, infra LED, and the infra razors on the board process chip. A ball inside the mouse touch the desktop and the roll when the mouse moving. 2 rollers inside the mouse touch a ball one side of a roller organized and so that the direct motions x direction and another is a 19 degree to the first roller, direct motions y degree. When the handball rotate, one of the both of those roller rotate as well as the following image show to the right roller in the mouse. Mechanical mouse. The type of computer mouse that has a rubber and the metal balls on the underside is a can roller in every direction, can scanner and within mouse. When a mechanical mouse is a detect a direction with the ball are moving and the moves pointed within a scanner and the same direction as mouse pad should be used under the mouse run on. Optomechanical device. Optomechanical mouse. It's a machine. It's a mouse except that use optic sensor and motion ball. Depend mouse bed under the mouse to run on. Optomechanical. The text moving mechanical and the optical system counts plus of the light. The mouse, the ball, the 21 millimeter diameter, then the roller 7 millimeter, and the diameter is the disc has 36 holes, so it's a mouse moving 25.4 millimeter is 1 inch in course. The chips detect the 41 plus of lights. Optical mouse. The device, a mouse, a technical nor performed device for pointing and the tracking of the optical mouse, developing technologies and today's to the world in the 1919 to optical mouse usually used for tiny and the cameras of taking the 15 pictures every second. Wow. Future mouse. Your finger is your print. What is a device? Mobile device. A mobile device is a small handheld, the external operating computing device having a display, screen, touch input, and the miniature keyboards. Generally, what mobile device is a pocket-sized computing device, typically having a display screen with touch input or a keyboard. Next, the what is a smart phone, mobiles device? It is a device has a ability to connect to internet, support or user input and interacting automatically operationally offering multiple functions, lights, weights and small size. Next one is types of mobile device. The mobile operating system or mobile OS is a system software is managed to device hardware and the software resources and provide a common service for programs, smartphones. Android is an open source Linux derived platform by Google and along the major hardware and software developer. It has the largest install worldwide smartphone currently and Lollipop Android 5.11 available. Others, some are promoting mobiles OS and BlackBerry's Firefox OS, OS Tanzine, Ubuntu Touch OS, etc. What is the input device? Input device, data into mouse. Input device, data into the computer and known as input device, keyboard, mouse, webcam. What is output device? Device take a form of computer, monitor, printer and the speaker. The input and output device, the computer communicates with the user by an output device. From an input device is a CPU processor and the result or output device. Output device format is usually print, a paper, sound, video, on a screen, document, etc. Monitor. Monitor is a primary output device for a PC. Generally, the monitor is an output device of the computer. It's like a TV that display takes the graphics on the screen. Video adapter and responsible for delivering the image of a monitor. Addition, circuitry needed for a computer interface with the monitor of the video display card adapter. There are two basic type monitors, CRT cathode tubes, floating planes and LED liquid crystal display. CRT and a monitor type. A monitor or a display, sometimes called a visual display unit, is an electronical visual unit for a computer. CRT monitor looks like a television and is used with non-portable computer system. CRT consists of a large vacuum tube. The tube is nowhere as a rear. It will house an electrical guns in the worms on the phone's display screen areas. Color of monitor, typically three electrical guns. Electricals is essentially ball off of the electrical guns cathode. Electrical guns then accelerate toward the electrical guns and anode. They are also collide. Yoke is a set of electrical guns directions beams electrical towards a particular point of the screen. Cathode rays tubes, here is the electrical guns. The device shoots three electrical bombs toward a screen. Next, the monitor size. Given a fixed 2.3 aspect ratio, the size of the monitor can then be given by a dimensional length of the screen. The only things to watch here is the distances between the display size and the visible display. Printers. Generally, it's a hardware responsible for taking a computer data and generating a hard copy of the data. Printer is output device, print text, image and paper and all other like media transmissions by printing and creating what known as a hard copy. There is different kinds of printer which varies speed and printer quality to two main type of printers, impact printers and non-impact printers. First type of printer is impact printer. Impact printer and a printer work like a typewriter. It is characters or image or sticking a print hammer or set of the pen against inkjet ribbon. Ink is a proceed from the ribbon on the paper of produce. You can see the printer by sticking an ink ribbon. Impact printer using a hard consisting number of metal pens which stick in ribbon placed between the print hard of the paper. Line printer, dot printer and printer is the sum of the impact printer. Non-impact printer. Non-impact printer is a type of printer where is a print hard does not stick the paper. It is character printer on the paper with different means such as a razor, some pointer as a spray ink, while other use heat and pressure to create image. Impact printer is a must. Impact printer printing hard to do stick a paper. Non-impact printer including laser, inkjet and the thermal. Line printer is a higher speed printer capable printing entering the line at a time. In the line printer can per 115 lines in 3000 lines per minute. The limitations of a line printer, they can print only a font, they cannot print graphically. The printer quality is low and they are noisy and to operate, but it can print large volume of text data very fast compared to the other printer. It is also use a printer on multi-part stationery and prepare copies of documents. Line impact printer. Dot max printer is the most popular serial printer. Dot max printer is print on 8 or 14 points at a time with print head moving across the line. They are similarly typed word. They are normally slow. The printer speeds around 300 letters per second. Is used in multi-part stationery paper copies of a document. Thermal printers produce image by brushing electrical heat spins against special heat sensitive papers. There are the next ones use widely fax machines and calculate. Thermal printer will tend to dark over time to do expose sunlight and heat, so the printer matter on the paper fade after week 2 is produce a poor quantity print. Thermal print. Laser printer is laser beams drop powered in to produce a film fine to max print pattern. Max type patterns. It can produce very good quality of the image. Image. One of the chief characteristics of laser printer is their resolution. How many dots per inch DPI they down. The available resolution range of 300 dpi at low and end around 1200 dpi at high and end. And next, inject printer is use color categories with combined image. Yellow and gray inks to create color tones. A black category is also use shapes monochromes output. Inject printer work by spraying organizing ink sheet on paper magnetized plates and inject path direction ink onto paper in the described shape. Projectile system. Projectile system and type. Kinds of projectiles: film sphere projectile, slide projectile, overhand projectile, opaque projectile, LED projectile. Film sphere strip film strip projectile. It is a device used to view a film strip. Refers to the roll of the 35 mm transparent films containing series of reflective pictures shown on the one time. Slide projectile. The device uses a view photographic slide. It refers to the small format photographic transformation the individually mount for one of the time projectile. Slide projectile. Opaque projectile. Next. Device that use are capable to display opaque material on the screen. LED projectile is a type of projectile you can display video, image, computer data, screen or anything flat surface. Image of the LED projectile. You can see. Overhand projectile is a bow with a large stat on the top surface. Lamp from inside a bow constituted by a special type of lens passing through the transparent it in a clear stage. Generally, a projectile device uses light of lenses and taking an image project and a magnified image into the large screen as well. Sound system. Multiple PC comes with a sound speaker and CD-ROM and or a DVD-ROM. A sound card transfers digit signs into the Lenovo's once drive and speaker. With the right software, you can see your PC to edit sound and create a special sound effect. List of the two commonly used: a computer monitor. Explain how a CRT monitor display image and divide the type of flat and the monitor. Explain their difference. List of 4 characteristics you should consider every compared monitor. Examine how computer output sound. Soundness related intensity of the sound wave, which relative frequency, able range 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Upper limit decrease with age. Ultrasound above 20,000 Hz. See ultrasounds camera focusing and following. Infrasounds below 20 Hz. Here is a image of the sound. You can see.